Hey, what's up, droners? I'm so sorry this came late. I'm actually out filming in Tasmania, as you can see behind me. This is Tasmania, like a little Australian island. But yes, I'm filming here, doing a lot of drone work, so you'll see a lot of that. But in the meantime, I have a video for you guys of me doing a presentation for a VR conference in Los Angeles. This happened a while ago. It was really last minute, but it was really cool because I got to be on this crazy, amazing sound stage. The direction I was given was like, you got to explain to people what drones technology kind of is and how drones in VR works. So check it out. Please judge me. I know that I didn't have everything together, or I might have missed some things, but that's okay because it was a last minute presentation. It was off the cuff, as you can see. And I had my good friend David Smith there presenting with me. I did it with Royster Productions and it was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of cool people and yeah, people learned what droner was. So check it out. Let me know your thoughts. And I look forward to showing you guys how fly I got to be in Tasmania and Australia. Peace.
And the winner of the 1975 Mr. Olympia, the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hey guys, is this the Venice Beach Court? I mean, is it the only one? Oh, it is hard goddamn work being this good.
Thank you. Thank you. So, first of all, Sean, thank you for that amazing introduction. My name is Bryan Edwards, and I am a professional drone photographer or pilot. Yeah, sounds good, right? And I am also the host of a YouTube show called Droner, as you can see, youtube.com/droner. And that shot right there, believe it or not, is actually a drone shot. It looks like CG, it looks like a video game. It's actually a drone shot. And no, I didn't shoot that. Robert McIntosh shot that to show off a post-production application called Real Steady. But the reason I showed it to you guys today is to show you just how far the potential and how far drones have really come, which is also why I have these drones in front of you here. Now, what I'm going to talk to you guys about very briefly today, because we only have a little bit of time, is I'm going to give you guys a definition of what drones are, what the drone industry looks like in the sense of how to break it down, a little bit about the drone history, and really, honestly, go into, obviously, what we're all here for is VR, and probably touch on a little bit of safety and the regulations that are going on with drones as well, and might even have a little surprise at the end, maybe. So, jump right into it. A drone, to me, is an unmanned ship or vessel that pretty much goes in the water or in the air, all the places that we can't go. Obviously, we're good on the ground, we can walk, we can go wherever we want to go, but as these things right here, they can take us places that we can't do. We can't go there. And that's a big deal because that allows a lot of industries to open up. I'm going to start with a story. In October of last year, like I told you guys, I'm a professional drone pilot. I got a phone call from a production company. Said, hey, we want you to fly drones for us. And I'm like, sweet, I like flying drones for people. This is going to be great. And they said, okay, yeah, we're doing an independent movie, and the movie is based in 2011. So we want to actually have you bring a drone from 2011 to our set and fly it and use the footage from the drone, but also we want to see the drone in the shots. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I got you, I think. See, the reason I had to pause is because I actually started flying drones in 2013. which actually makes me like an OG with drones. Like most people are like, yeah, 2015, I've been in it forever. And I started off when it wasn't necessarily so cool. I know, right? So yeah, I was like, okay, let me do some research. Let me find out. And I had to dig. And what I found was that the first consumer drone that came out that had a camera on it that was like in the box, ready to fly, was called a Parrot Air 1.0. Can we put up that picture, please? The Parrot Air 1.0, bam! This is the peak of technology in drones in 2011. It's so advanced that I couldn't even get my hands on one to bring it to here today. This drone had all the features. It had brushed motors, as you can see, like these little gears. It flew via Wi-Fi, and it also used the gyro stability on your phone to fly, which now is all pretty much laughable. And this is 2011. That's 6 years ago. That was the peak of drone technology. Now, the reason that I brought all these drones up here is because I was going to give you guys a brief, super brief rundown of how much drone technology has advanced in just 6 years. So starting off, we can start talking about this. This is probably the most recognizable drone. Why, thank you, sir. This is David Smith, by the way. He's awesome.
Everybody.
Don't worry. This man has mad purpose. You guys are going to see what he's going to talk about in a minute. This right here is the Phantom 2. This came out in 2013, I think. Yeah, this came out in 2013, and it revolutionized drones. This thing was still not completely reliable. It had basic GPS, but the real big deal that happened here is the stability of it, as well as being able to put a gimbal on a drone and put a GoPro on it. That revolutionized the way things were shot and revolutionized drones in general. This is when everybody started saying, like, what is that white thing in the sky? This is the most revolutionary drone at the time. It was a big deal. I didn't have one. Actually, I had an Iris 3DR Iris Plus, but that's neither here nor there.
That was my fault.
Huh? Yeah, that was your fault.
Yeah.
This guy told me to get that drone instead of this drone. But yeah, archaic piece of archaicness. So yes, this is 2013. So then in 2014, we had this drone. End of 2014, we had the Phantom 3 Professional. This is my baby. That drone I have more hours on than any other drone. I've flown that thing all over the world. It is a workhorse. This introduced the proprietary camera on a drone that was only meant for drones. Big deal, because GoPros weren't meant to fly, as in the vibrations and the gimbals and all that. It worked, but there was a lot of things you had to do in post. You had to learn a lot. There's a huge learning curve of what you can do. And this also flew longer. Like I said, it had a return to home function. You could press a button, it'll go right back to where it took off, land itself. Big deal. This drone changed things. It's like, okay, cool. I thank you. And then DJI, as you guys can tell, this is kind of like a DJI commercial because they're the one. DJI is the biggest drone company in the game. They came out with this. Late 2014, early 2015, mid 2015, DJI came out with the Inspire. This changed everything. The reason why the Inspire changed everything is because when you're flying one of these drones right here, you are having to control everything. You're going to have to control the camera, you're going to have to control the drone, you're going to have to control safety, you have to control all of it. On this one, you have dual operators. One person is flying the bird, the other person is flying the camera separately and doing the shot separately. That changed the entire way that cinematography happened on drones. Now, of course, I'm so some of you guys are thinking like some people have these octocopters that have reds and things on like that. That's a whole different conversation because typically with those big ones, you're going to have to be an electrical engineer to be able to fly that. We're talking consumer drones and prosumer drones, and professionals can use these kind of drones. And then fast forward a little bit further, and we have blam, this beast. This is the Inspire 2. And again, this is just improving. As you can tell, it looks just like the Inspire 1, but there's so much different. This drone right here has object avoidance in every single direction. This drone has a 4K camera that shoots ProRes. That one shot RAW. This one shoots RAW for fun, because who wants to deal with RAW if you can just shoot ProRes? Like I said, object avoidance, and it also has redundancy of the batteries, showing that it can shoot two batteries at the same time. It has flight modes where it can pretty much fly autonomously. You don't even really need to fly drones anymore. So what does that mean? What does that mean for all of us that we don't even have to fly drones anymore? This is what encourages industry. And there's two different kind of industries in drones. There is entertainment, and then there's just industry. And I'm going to briefly touch on each. Entertainment. All these drones here can be used for entertainment. Entertainment is, first and foremost, is like this one. This is a toy drone, CMX 5C. This literally does nothing but fly, and it's not all that great at it. It's fun, though. This is a great drone to learn how to fly on it. All you can do is entertain yourself by flying. Blam. A lot of fun, toy drone, $40, learn how to fly. Or you can be doing things like, this is actually Matt's. Thanks for letting me borrow it, Matt. This is Matt's racing drone. This thing, there's actually an entire racing league dedicated to racing drones. These things go up to 100 miles an hour and go around tight little courses. You have crazy things happening, and every kind of racing drone that you go, every racing event that you go to is going to have 3 different things. You're going to have a drone race, you're going to have freestyles, drone freestyling, and you're going to have drone battles. Yeah, that's real, like battle bots. That actually happens now. But yeah, that's how far drones have come in that amount of time. And even so, this is actually another kind of drone league that's happening, is this is actually a racing drone as well. Indoor drone racing leagues where you can license somebody's house and just do like little courses. I love this thing, it's amazing. There's actually a camera on there that you can do first-person view flying on. Super fun. So that's entertainment. And one other thing on entertainment before I forget it is also, if you guys watched the Super Bowl this past year, there was something called the Intel drones. So you guys remember when Lady Gaga was up on top of the stadium and then there was like all those lights behind her and they were forming shapes and colors and stuff? Those were all drones. And they were part of Intel's program where they have created a swarm protocol that allows drones to be able to have different color LED lights on those drones and be able to make shapes 3D in any way you want and anything you want. And the purpose of those drones is not only to show off the incredible complex technology of being able to fly multiple drones or hundreds of drones at once from one single controller, it also is showing off the ability to get rid of fireworks. It's so good that Disney has actually adopted that and started using it in their theme parks. Like, fireworks are going to be a thing of the past, trust me, simply because of drones. So, all that to say, drones are going to be a lot of fun for entertainment. And that's not even the biggest thing. And that Dave Smith is going to talk about a little bit is how the industry is affected. Industry in the sense of, let me name them off, all the drone industries. We have mapping, surveying, mining, farming, inspection, and delivery. So drones, all these drones, like I was saying, all these ones with the cameras on them, they're all entertainment because they make videos and they're cool. But they also can have a dual purpose of doing mapping, surveying, inspection, 3D modeling, and all of the above. Especially, you want to talk about the volumetric mining and working with that.
So talking about mining, yeah.
Yes.
So, hey everybody, I'm David Smith. I think I've had a chance, clap after, we'll see if it was worth it. So I think most of you guys have had a chance to talk outside, seeing some of our demonstrations in VR. And I'm hoping that those demonstrations have started to give you an idea to a concept of volumetric VR versus panoramic video, where there's some confusion around what is VR. Most of what I'm interested in VR is the volumetric, where I'm neck down. I have the ability to move around in a virtual reality, in a virtual space. That's significantly different than the YouTube 360 video that you might have seen, even that we're creating with the Ozo here. This is compelling. The ability to look around is a very important part of immersion. The ability to walk around takes it to a whole other level. The problem is to be able to create a reality that I can navigate, that reality has to be realized in full 3 dimensions. So drones, because they are by their very nature a 3-dimensional vehicle, it's an excellent platform for us to be able to work on scanning the real world to create a virtual representation of it. So one application for that, when we're looking at scanning, let's say, a mining operation. So if you happen to have an ore mine. I'm not into mining, so I'm probably going to use incorrect terminology. But let's say you're digging up some kind of dirt, right? And you need to make a pile of that incredibly valuable thing that you're trying to extract from the earth. Up until drones and the scanning technology we're doing, it was the requirement of a person with expertise to look at that pile and go, I think that's about 15 cubic meters of whatever. Now, with a drone, we can pilot that drone in a circle around that pile and get a very accurate 3D representation of that we can then bring into software and get an incredibly precise measurement that we can go, I know that the volume of that pile is exactly this. And so that mapping capability that's happening real time, where you're not waiting for a satellite imagery, or this is happening moment to moment. I can find out at the beginning of the day, at the middle of the day, and at the end of the day, how has that changed? So I'm able to now, as a person running the mine, I have a much more accurate representation of what is my, how well are my crews doing? What's the efficiency? Where are we on this process? That is only possible because of the remote sensing capability of drones. Do we want to move into VR, or do you want to?
Yeah, actually, okay. I was going to say, and on that, it's amazing because right now, what it takes before these drones, it takes a team of people to be able to figure out how big an area is, or how much it is, or even in construction, and saying we want to build a house on the side of a hill. You have to survey that hill. You have to figure out the slope of that hill. You have to figure out how deep it goes, like what kind of materials are on that hill. How do you do that outside of having a drone? Like, it takes weeks of people working to figure that out. Now it simply takes hours. And that's actually, and the funniest thing is, like, in doing some research, I found out that the biggest growth area for drones is not what I would have guessed, and I don't know if it was what you would have guessed either. It's actually in inspections. Inspections of infrastructure, inspections of roofs, inspections of all the things that we actually work on and create, inspections of everything, is because drones can go where we can't, and they save us so much money and space and safety in doing that. Right now, the drone industry is worth a little bit around $3 billion, but it is estimated that it's going to be worth, by 2020, $127 billion. And the only thing that's really stagnating that growth, or like people have investors and people slightly concerned about it, is the regulation. Right now, we're in a little bit of a wild, wild west when it comes to drones and saying, hey, am I allowed to fly this drone here? We don't know. We kind of do. We're working on it. Like right now, I told you guys, I'm a professional pilot. This is my professional pilot's license. I've gotten this from the FAA. It's Part 107. You have to take a test. It's not easy. And you get this thing that says you're a commercial pilot, which doesn't tell you that you can fly anywhere you can. It just says that you're a commercial pilot. So that's a really big impediment to what's going on, but at the same time, everyone's working together to be able to make that happen and make it work. So to talk about virtual reality, I'm going to start it, and you can please pick it up. We've been talking a lot about virtual reality and what that means. But you got to think, it's like for us to have these headsets and for us to have these spaces, that means we have to have a lot of content. We have to have a lot of space of reality, because it's virtual, but where are we? How do you create that space? Either you can do like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and have an entire team of creators and artists, and they have to sit down and create stuff from pictures and figure out what it is, like, and literally draw it up as artists, which was a big deal when that game came out, because you can go to your house in Los Angeles and look, they made my house in a video game. Or you can fly a drone over the space, do volumetric video capture, and you'll have it in hours, the entire thing. And that's what's going to be the next level of VR. And that's why drones and VR go hand in hand so well, because drones are going to be creating the VR that we're going to be in. Anything to add?
On to VR. Okay. So one of the things that you've got to think about when you're talking about producing volumetric video for entertainment purposes, or honestly for any situation where we need to be able to navigate that space, you have to be able to create an environment, and then you're going to create a performance to place in that environment. That's the current state of the art, and it's going to be for the foreseeable future. So there's companies like 8i and a few other people that are working on how to capture a volumetric representation of a human being offering a performance that's actually being photographed. So we're not talking about animated characters like Avatar. We're talking about actually having Robert De Niro standing there, and you can walk around him while he's performing a scene. Thank you, Robert. Once you've captured that performance, you have a responsibility to put that in a compelling location. So we have to be able to either create these, as you mentioned, video game style as a rendered environment, and that's certainly one way that's going to continue to happen. But I'm more interested in, let's capture real environments. If I want to be on a cliffside, I want to be in those real places. So what drones allow us to do is to navigate those places very quickly and easily. And there's a process called photogrammetry. So photogrammetry is where you take individual images, a large sequence of images from multiple perspectives, and computers are able to triangulate the 3D space from the content of those photographs. So the computer can actually look at a picture. If I'm capturing this room, I'm going to go all the way around on the border, shooting photos towards the inside. The software will then be able to calculate, based on the differences from one photograph to the other, where the camera was in 3D space when it took the picture, and then from the content of that picture, actually start creating a 3D representation of everything that was in all of those photos. So for us in this room, I have to kind of walk around and take photos from every angle. If I'm outside, or if I'm daring in here, I can do the exact same thing just by rolling video on a drone. If I roll video on a drone, and some of these drones actually have an autonomous function where it's able to spiral around a central focal point. So I just say, this is the thing I care about, this is the Statue of Liberty, or this is the environment that I want to capture, and I set the drone free. And it goes on a mapping mission that's pre-programmed into it by myself or by part of the team, and by the drone. And that drone is now going to roll video on that spiral. Once that spiral is now climbing, it's actually capturing a series of still images in that video that I can extract and now render a complete 3D representation of that entire environment just from the photographic data. Once I have that environment, I can load that into VR, place my Robert De Niro avatar in the middle of it, and now I have a complete scene. That wouldn't be possible, or certainly wouldn't be possible with the ease that it is, because we have the ability to fly a camera with impunity rather than having to have a guy walking around with a ladder. So
Yeah.
That's a quick primer.
Yeah, it's a quick. And even just to put it even in a simpler phrase, to be able to capture what he was talking about in VR, you can either have 1,000 cameras in 1,000 places, or one camera that can be in 1,000 places. And that, my friends, is why drones are so hand in hand in what is going to be VR and what is going to allow the VR future to be. So bam, there it is, drones in VR. So I actually have one last thing that I'm going to do for you guys is because of Matt, Royster, and David, I was able to get the license to be able to be the first pilot to actually film where we stand. Yes, we'll sit. But film here at Los Angeles Center Studios. No one else had ever done it before. And big disclaimer, I did this last night, and I am not an editor, so bear with me. But I put together a short video of some of the footage that we got for you guys to wrap up what I'm talking about. So can we go ahead and play that? Yeah, so I had to put that in the end. So yeah, that's what we have. We were gonna do Q&A, but I know our time is short, so thank you guys very much. Dave Smith, Bryan Edwards, Droner, youtube.com/droner, or if you just wanna type droner, and make sure you use the quotation marks because YouTube likes to correct you and think you're trying to spell drone. So thank you guys very much.
Pretty cool, right? Good. Thank you for checking it out. Make sure, as always, you go ahead and subscribe because that's what allows us to do what we're doing. Check out the other videos we got. Yeah, this is like the quick version of the end of the video. And yeah, subscribe. I already said it, but you need to subscribe because that allows us to do this. Check out our Patreon page. And as always, stay fly.